All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome back to another team analysis for the Asia Cup 2023. This time, we are in the third team, that is another Asian side, Bangladesh. And as we were discussing, I have Aryan from the DirectHit with me. We both were discussing before we came live was that Bangladesh is an underachiever, and that is absolutely true because they have really talented players, but they do not succeed much in the long run. Aryan, what's your take on Bangladesh, the team that they have played in on paper for the Asia Cup 2023? Because we know that these teams, not just Bangladesh, there's six teams that are fielding it, they're playing 17, more or less will be there in the World Cup as well. What's your take for Bangladesh?
I think, Pritam, Bangladesh. First of all, welcome to everyone and whoever is viewing. Do comment and like the video and share it. And just coming to the topic, they have been really improving in one day cricket. We've seen they beat India in the one day series. It's been on a rise. If you remember that shot by Shabir Rahman through third man to end our hopes, that is when the Bangladesh revolution started. And then they've got players like Mehdi Miraj, Shakib Al Hassan is back as captain. They are underachievers, not in the sense they're not good, but they blow hot and cold. That is the thing with Bangladesh. And we'll dive more into their squad and what their strengths and weaknesses are as we go along in the video.
So, like you said about Shabir Rahman, not to forget in the 2016 Mushfiqur Rahim's those scoop and those overconfidence of two balls, they thought they will get over the line, and ultimately we won by 1 run. So, overconfidence also leads to defeats, and we have seen that. But not to forget, Bangladesh has given us real tough fight in the recent past, especially in the ICC tournaments, and we hope that we again get equal amount of good fights apart from Pakistan in these Asian conditions. But we come in the winning side as Indians. But here, let's move on, Aryan. It's time for us to proceed with things. Let's go on.
Yeah, and confidence, talking about confidence, we are introducing our guest for today. You've seen him plenty of times on the show, so it doesn't need much of an introduction. Coming to you from Dudley near Birmingham, right from England, in an Arsenal shirt, surprisingly. Sandy Paji, how are you? And looking forward to the Asia Cup, first of all.
I am good. I'm really happy. Looking forward to the Asia Cup and looking forward to Bangladesh because Bangladesh I've watched live a couple of times at Edgbaston. Amazing fans, amazing people, lovely atmosphere at Edgbaston when they came round, and I love them because they hold the Tigers, bring the Tigers with them, and so yeah, Bangladesh is very good. I've watched them play India twice at Edgbaston, and on each occasion it was a really good match, and it was a really good team by Bangladesh. They did play better than they had been playing, so I think that's the key with Bangladesh is which Bangladesh turns up, and can they keep all their players happy and focused on winning a group, which I think they have a very good chance of qualifying to the next stage.
Agreed.
That's what the one question from a fan has come. Can Paji, do you think can they turn this around and be consistent in their performances? They've been hot and cold, but do you think this is the time that they go with some momentum into the World Cup?
It's difficult. I think with Bangladesh, you have two sides of Bangladesh. You have the very experienced players, so there's 4 or 5 in that very experienced group, and then you have the unknown quality, the unknown quantity of players. And again, how do they gel the two? And they've had loads of issues with the captaincy going from one player to another player. But again, I think they made the right decision with having Shakib as captain because that passion, that fire Shakib has, if it can be channeled in the right way, I think, and the squad buy into it, then you will have hungry players, you will have players willing to play for the captain. However, if it goes the wrong way, it can have a negative effect, especially on the less experienced players, the players that haven't played, a lot of international cricket. So, as I said, the problem with this team, it's heavily reliant on the experienced players. So their experienced players will have to turn up and perform, to their top level to drag the rest of the team to that level. So I think with Bangladesh, I think this is the big thing with them. And again, with them, can they beat Afghanistan? I think that is the key thing, because I think that match,
Yeah.
I think Sri Lanka at home will be a very tough test for them. But can they beat Afghanistan to qualify for the next round? And I think they will be happy if they qualify and play India or Pakistan in the knockout phase.
Yeah.
Correct, absolutely. I agree with that because they are in a group where you can say that equivalent three teams are really competitive: Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. And I agree to this point of yours. Coming to the next section, which is the squad, the 17-member squad for Afghanistan, and the man on the screen, the picture we see is of Shakib Al Hassan, who has come back and is going to be the captain of Bangladesh, hopefully for the next couple of years. I'm looking into all the sections, but I come to the batting section first. Aryan, do you see here that there is no more the likes of Tamim Iqbal, or the likes of, there was one more Shomo Sharkar, no more there. You have the new bunch of players, very inexperienced, but these players like Shanto, Naeem, they have been part of this Bangladesh squad for the past couple of 2-3 years. Do you think it's time for them to look into the bigger picture, take the Bangladesh side ahead, especially when the format has changed in the Asia Cup from T20 to the ODI format?
I think this is the young blood, and they have the perfect opportunity to prove themselves at a world stage. Because remember, this is a multi-nation tournament, and these are the opportunities you crave for as a youngster playing for your country. These are young guns, been with the team, and they are young blood. Nazmul Hassan Santo, decent technique. If I talk about Mohammad Naeem, he's that aggressive. He has a few jab at the bowlers as well.
Correct.
But he's a good batsman, and I think top order is something they need to be worried about, because I'm very comfortable with their 4-5-6. We know who is going to slot in there. The all rounders come in, and Mushfiq.
Correct.
But uh, Paji, do you think there's a susceptibility up at the top one, two, and three? All are youngsters, and you're coming up against Shaheen and all those strong bowling attacks. So, do you think they need to be careful in the first 10?
Yeah, I think that's what they've got to try to do. They've got to try to mix the partnerships with their experienced players and a young player. I think the young players, again, they need some of this experience to guide them. I think the Asia Cup obviously is something that Bangladesh want to qualify. And again, we've got to think of it in the larger context. This is going to be their competitive practice going to the World Cup in India, and being in the Sri Lanka and being in Pakistan. I know India not playing in Pakistan. This is an ideal situation for them to one, get their team selection right for the World Cup, but also give their experience and batting lineup and especially their bowling as well, give them the competitive edge going into the World Cup. Because I say, we are nearly a month and a bit away from the World Cup. It's very important that these squads, and especially a team like Bangladesh, where you can say, okay, what is their best 11? You can pick 5 or 6 players from this squad that will be in there. It's their younger players, the unknown quantity. How are they going to step up in this tournament for them to go to the World Cup? And I think that's the key thing, what they've got to do. And again, how they are going to mix their experienced players with the not so experienced players to get them ready for the World Cup.
Correct, and that's where this side is, where a team as a unit you need to play, because they have issues in terms of behavior. As Aryan said, that Naeem is somebody who takes on the opposition in terms of the behavior. Not we are not going to go into the picture about the captain himself as well, but also they have a lot of talented middle order batsmen. You have the 2 wicket keepers. I can see Liton Das, talented player who almost took down India in Adelaide in the World Cup. You have Mushfiqur Rahim, another player who is very vast experience. And then I come to the all rounders. You have filled with talent. You have Shakib, you have Afif Hussain, another player who takes on the attack in the middle orders. He's a finisher type of player. Then you have the 2 spinners, Mehdi Hassan, Mehdi Miraz, and the Shamim Hussain, a new player coming added to the all rounder section. My favorite part is the bowling lineup of Bangladesh. Mustafizur Rahman, and how well has Shariful Islam been for Bangladesh in the last 1.5 years, Aryan?
Yeah, I mean that guy. He's a new sensation. for Bangladesh. And I think if you guys go back to 2011, there was a similar named bowler named, I think, Shariful, who was a right arm quickie and for whom Sehwag hit for four, first
I was
delivery
about to say that.
of our first World Cup game. So the thing with this Bangladesh team is so many similar named players, but no. Coming to this guy, I've seen him bowl a bit. Tall, lanky, fast bowler, swings it up front, and he's a left armer. And we all have been craving for left armers. And since Arshdeep came in, we as Indian fans are very happy. And they have this luxury, of a left arm pacer in Shoreful. They have two left armers, two top quality. I see both of them playing. And just to give you an idea of what is going to happen, you just saw yesterday's game. The ball was hooping around in Sri Lanka. Shaheen, Naseem, and Rauf, especially, bowled at a quick pace. They are mid 140s, mid 130s. Tuskin is the only one with the pace. But if they can use their skills to good effect, they might be effective. Paji, what is your take on their pace attack, especially Bangladesh? Can they trouble the teams with their pace?
Yeah, I think they've got a very good balance. Again, Islam, you don't know what will turn up because of his young youth, but he's probably a bit quicker than Mustafiz. But Mustafiz, again, they've got one player that is the key to drive the other bowlers. I think that is what they've got. And again, as Pritam said, the all-rounders, because there's probably three of the all-rounders will play. So their attack can be flexible. If one of the batsmen bowlers is getting hit, they've got an extra all-rounder to come in and bowl, and especially on the spin department. So I think they'll probably end up playing with three fast bowlers and the extra all-rounder. I think that's what the makeup will be happening. And again, I think with the wicket keeper situation, two of the most experienced players, one will be batting and who will be wicket keeping, and that's a big call that they'll have to make on that one, because I think both are really experienced. I'll probably go for Mushfiqar to be the wicketkeeper, probably, and Litton to be in the field, because you still need experience on the field with the younger players. And if something goes wrong on the pitch, it's up for these older players to come in and put their arm around the young players, not to make them disheartened, and get them to lift their performance on the park. So again, I think Mustafiza is going to be the key bowler, and how they are going to be able to rotate their bowlers around his 10 overs. Are they going to bowl him 3 up the top and 3 or 4 at the end? Because that's the problem they'll have. You don't want too many inexperienced bowlers bowling right at the death, especially in tight games. So, and then again, in the middle part of the innings, which is always the key part in ODI cricket, is how can they control and rotate their bowlers to get the bowling right towards the end. So I think batting second, they probably will be able to do that. But batting first, I still think they still heavily rely on Mustafiza. And he's a bowler that you probably think they'll probably need to bowl 3 to 4 in the power play at the start, and then at least 3 or 4 at the end, because I think the control is with him. And whereas the other bowlers, they've really got to be careful, because again, in the South Asians, the batting is the strength of most of the teams, other than probably Pakistan, where the bowling is a lot stronger than the batting. That's where the games are won and lost.
Yeah.
Correct, and that's where Mustafizur is a death over specialist. So you will want players like him or bowlers like him, if they are bowling first, to have as many overs as possible in the second half of the innings. And coming into a question which हम लोग बहुत discuss कर रहे थे in the introduction, Aryan, I have a question for you from one of the fans. That do you think that Bangladesh celebrate too early rather than finishing the game in a proper manner? This thing I need an answer
I
from you
don't know.
in whichever language you want to.
I don't know. I mean, take back those instances. Sri Lanka, they play Sri Lanka, bring out the Nagin, and then take out the Nidahas trophy, then again the Nagin dance, and then go to 2016, and Mushfiqar doing fist pumps after hitting the boundary. So, see, cricket brings out various emotions in fans and players, and yes, sometimes they are over expressive. That's the only word I will I will put to this answer, to this question: over expressive Bangladesh, and their fans are really expressive as well. So that I think Bangladeshi people love the sport, and this all is coming out of love and the hunger to win. At the end of the day, if they want to win, and they know that they don't win much, so whatever opportunity they can get, they need to grab off it. And I think when that opportunity comes, they sometimes, when the end is near, you are scared that you are scared or you are excited to finish it off. I think Bangladesh more on the excitement side, yes. And with that answer, I'll move on to the next section. We picked 6 players, from this 17 who we think are key to Bangladesh. I'll come to Litton Das, IPL contract, played for the Knight Riders, smashed India in the World Cup. Aggressive option, but do you think he needs to tone down a bit and bat long, because Bangladesh can't afford him to keep getting starts and then getting out?
Yeah, this is the key, and this is what we discussed earlier. The players like Litan Das, Shakib, Mustafiq, all these players who have a lot of experience, one in IPL white ball cricket, and also playing for the national team. They've really got to be ready with their A game for them to get the younger players around. And I think when the emotion is there, these people have to be able to control the other players' emotions and say, look, we've learned from the past. This is how we need to progress and do things. And I think that's what it is. And that's the problem they have. Again, they are hungry to win. You don't want to take the emotion out of the moment. But again, it's got to be on a level head where you think, the job isn't done until it's done. And I think, and that's what's the key going to be. And that's even the issue with Afghanistan. They have a lot of emotional players, but again, how in that tight game against a team that, like they play against India and they play against England, Australia, Pakistan, where there's all the underdogs, it's harder to control. But in a game against, Sri Lanka or Afghanistan, the lower teams or the mid teams, that is a game, which is a 50-50 game, which means more pressure, which means they've got to, the margins between winning and losing are very, very small. And I think that's the key with what they've got to do. And again, with their 6 players that we have, it's the experience. The unknown factor is quite good, but the experienced players have to really, take the young players up that level. The younger players that are not so experienced have to go 1-2 more levels, play at their maximum, and be supported by the senior players for this team to be successful.
Correct. And I couldn't agree more to that fact, because experience and youth makes a team really strong enough. And coming into, when you talk about experience, in this 6 players, I couldn't take my eyes off from the first 2 names I see out here. Aryan, you look into the stats of Mushfiqur Rahim. 7 games, 307 runs, and he hasn't played the 2022 Asia Cup, that is the T20 format. This is just his ODI runs from the 2018 Asia Cup. What is your take on how big a role will these 2 players bring in the Asia Cup? Aryan has just, I think he's come out, his channel was lagging. No problem. Aryan, while he makes a comeback, Paji, you say that these 2, Shakib Al Hassan and Mushfiqur Rahim at number 4 and number 5. How big a role is that for Bangladesh cricket?
A massive role. And again, this is the importance, what they've got to do. At the top order, these guys have to come in, say, from 25 overs, past 25 overs, and then they control the game. I think that's the key thing. Like we said, the top order has to, probably the top 3 will have to bat at least, probably lose maximum 1 or 2 wickets before that, the 20th over. After the 20th over, they can still play themselves in and then control the innings. And I think that's the key. Mushfiqur, his figures are absolutely brilliant. And again, his figures in, subcontinent are really, really good. So against the type of bowling, he's used to the type of bowling. There's nothing going to be a surprise to both Shakib and Mustafiq in terms of bowling. Where it is as the other batsman, that might be an issue. You could say, okay, these other bowlers, the top bowlers, they are there to take these wickets. In those middle overs, 25 to 45, when a team has to get through its weaker bowling set, you want your best batting to be batting at that time. And still, for me, the two names on the team sheet are Mushfiqur and Shakib. Shakib and Mushfiqur, are in between, say, 35 to 45. If they are in at that time, Bangladesh have a chance to either post a good score or chase something down.
Yeah, and I think Paji just covered the both the batsmen Shakib, Mushfiq, and I think we basically went through the important players while we were discussing the squad. But Paji, I'll just round this section off with the one short answer. One player out of these six, who do you think is going to be the main threat for other teams?
Oh, it's got to be Fizz. I think it's got to be Fizz. I think the batting is the Fizz will not just only take the wickets; he will be bowling at the most important times, and I think that difference is his experience compared to the rest. And Fizz is if a good Fizz comes in, then Bangladesh have a chance to restrict a team, or if a Fizz comes in and take wickets, they need wickets. I think he's the main guy.
Yeah, and people
Okay,
are also
while you were
waiting
talking
for.
about Fizz, yeah, go ahead, Adi. And I was about to say the
Yeah,
same thing.
I'm like, people are waiting for Litan Das fireworks, and they are also missing a certain Tamim Iqbal, who sometimes takes the retirement and then comes back. But yeah, we'll go on to this after this section. That question from Mahir, I think Mahir would answer it. But Paji, this Bangladesh team is playing their first match in Pallekele. Then they're traveling to Pakistan, all across some oceans, something. Do you think this will hamper their campaign itself? They are traveling from one
Yes,
country
it
to another.
will. It will. The thing is, the teams that are based in a certain thing, hotel wise, travel wise, everything is looked at. When you then go from a slightly different condition, I know it's the subcontinent, but the conditions in Sri Lanka are very different to what they are in Pakistan. It'll make that difference. Hopefully for Sri Lanka, they will get turning wickets, because I think out of their bowling attack, they will have at least three all rounders or four all rounders in their team. So realistically, does their team really want bouncy quick wickets? Probably not. They want their bowlers to be the slower wickets. And if Sri Lanka is having slower wickets and Pakistan, the way their team is, they want they'll probably prepare quicker wickets for their quicker bowlers. So again, yeah, the conditions will vary quite a lot from Sri Lanka to Pakistan. So I think that's where a team like India, if they're based all their matches within Sri Lanka, there's no traveling, there's no, they can get used to the conditions. It really does benefit a team. So a team like Bangladesh, as long as they, realistically, they've got to win two of these games. They've got to beat Afghanistan, and they've got to take. Sri Lanka at home is a difficult one, and you don't know which Sri Lanka turns up. But again, it's a match which Bangladesh, if they play to their top level, they could win. So realistically, I think they've got to really get their schedule and bowl to the conditions, get their bowlers and their selections right to the conditions.
And I think one question, Pritam, we were going to ask you in the last section of the presentation, but it comes up here, so that makes our job easy. Thoughts on Shakib as captain, Paji? Returning, he's done it before, but how do you see him going now?
Yeah, Shakib, the inspiration. When we talk about captains, is the captain inspirational? And we will say, look, Ben Stokes, what's happening with Ben Stokes is inspirational. May not be the captain for the World Cup, but the fact is that player is the inspirational. He affects the game. Shakib affects the game in three areas. His fielding is awesome. His batting is brilliant, and his bowling is there. So whether he can add the fourth ball, which is the captaincy, I think that's what he's got. He's got to be able to do. Not just manage his performance. He's got to manage the team performance, and that's a different skill set. And we don't know what politics happens within the squad. But as long as Shakib, the players listen to him, they follow the instructions of the management, and they do well on the field, that will be down to the captain. So Shakib is going to be a key player for them, but he can't do this on his own. He has to rely with Fizz, with the bowling, and Mushfiqur with the batting, and also has to be able to have his ears opened to listen to what things are happening. He's got to use that experience, and he's got to be able to execute the game plan on the field. I think whether he's the right player for that, I think the hothead in me thinks as long as things go well, he might do really well. If things start going wrong, that's when you see the real captain come out.
True, because he's somebody Bangladesh will, the whole country of Bangladesh will definitely rely on, because they have brought him back as a captain. So definitely there are a lot of expectations from him, no, for without a doubt. And coming to the next slide, that is the form where we have brought here the Asia Cup winners and the runners up over the years. Not to forget that India is definitely at the top. But if you look at the right side of the column, the form, that is India coming with a win-loss win. Similarly for Bangladesh, as we're talking about Bangladesh this time, they're coming from two back-to-back losses. So in an ODI format as big as this, they lost two back-to-back games versus one of the teams they're going to play in the group stages itself, that is Afghanistan. And like you said, that defeating Sri Lanka at home is going to be difficult. So when they travel at Lahore against Afghanistan, you are considering that as a do or die situation. That is the game where the winner goes through and the loser gets eliminated. And we expect that Sri Lanka to win both the games. But still, how much of a chances do you see Bangladesh out here in terms of the rest of the five countries, in terms of progressing to the Super Fours, and how far can they go?
To be fair, they will do well to qualify at this group. The reason why I say that, I think the Afghani players, a lot of them have experience playing in Pakistan. So they will really, really like those conditions. They got a couple of good quick bowlers now, and they've got very, very good spin options. So I think the difference is, I think Bangladesh's batting is still better than Afghanistan's, but Afghanistan probably have the more consistency in the bowling than Bangladesh. So whether who wins that battle? Do the Bangladeshi batsmen outplay the Afghanistan bowlers, or do the Afghanistan bowlers outsmart the Bangladeshi batsmen?
Correct.
I think that's where the key battle will be between the two. So if it's a bowler wicket friendly in Lahore, you'd fancy Afghanistan. If it's a batting paradise, I still think Sri Lanka have better all-round batsmen. They have more in terms of all-rounders as well. And I think that's where the difference between the two teams are. So I think, really depends on the pitch. And I think out of these two teams, obviously, we think India and Pakistan will get to the semi-finals. The final, for me, will be India versus Pakistan. I'm pretty confident of that. And whether it's Afghanistan or Bangladesh or Sri Lanka, that's the key. If Sri Lanka win the two games, we will see what happens, whether they can do it.
Why don't you say India Bangladesh final? Mahir asking. He's excited about India.
I would love.
Final.
I think as a cricket fan, everybody wants to see India versus Pakistan final. I just think it just gives it that tournament. But Bangladesh can make it, and so I think if India finish top, Bangladesh will have to probably finish second for that to happen. So it could happen. It could happen.
And he doesn't.
But let's see what happens.
He doesn't want India Pakistan. He doesn't want India Pakistan finals.
But sorry to cut you, Paji. In one of the points you said that if it's going to be bat versus ball, definitely Bangladesh batting versus Afghanistan bowling, and you said if it's a bowling friendly track, then it's going to be advantage to Afghanistan. But I would want to ask you, if it's a bowling friendly which favors pace instead of spin, then it's going to be an equal game. Because just like you have Fazal Farooqi and the staff, one of the fan has written a good comment saying that Taski Ahmed and Shariful, these two will be really, really important because they hit the deck hard. Similarly, because they're going to miss the services of Ibadat Hussain, who is missing out due to injury. So these two, alongside maybe a third pacer, Mustafizur Rahman, I'm sorry to forget him. And similarly for Afghanistan, they will have the likes of Umar Zai, they will have Fazal or Farooqi. So it's going to be good if it's pace bowling friendly, just like we watched yesterday.
Is Mango's in the squad, isn't he?
No, Mango is not in the squad.
Mango's not in the squad. That's a big loss. That's a big loss for Afghanistan, because I think
Yeah.
that's a bowler that I do like. So yeah, I think that's that equalizes the bowling then really. But as I said, if it's a spin friendly track, I really do like the look of Afghanistan, and obviously Gulbaz up the top. He's a very, very dangerous player. But yeah, it's an equal game, and again the conditions will see who wins that game. And again, how they both do against Sri Lanka, taking some positive momentum into that game against Bangladesh versus Afghanistan, I think is a key, and that's why it's such a good tournament, really, isn't it? Because you kind of know, okay, there's one probably home advantage. If you have their home advantage, they have the crowd, they have the conditions. That should really be very good for them. On the other hand, they know they have to win the game. So this game's, that group is very close. I don't think there's an outstanding team in there, and we know with the first group it's going to be India or Pakistan in the 1 or 2 position, and it'll all go on that, and whether can India beat Pakistan in the final, or can Pakistan beat India in the thing, because that's why it could happen. And we saw that in the was it the Champions Trophy, where India absolutely
Champions Trophy final.
dismantled Pakistan at Edgbaston, and when it got to the final, India lost.
Yeah, and the thing is, we saw Bangladesh. They did well, but as we have discussed so far in this discussion, that the experienced players need to turn up. Paji, if you can see the 11, I'll just announce it for once for all the fans, and then you can agree or disagree with the 11 that we put on the screen. It's Litton Das opening with Mohammad Naeem and Shanto coming in at 3, and the strong middle order that we were talking about is Shakib Al Hassan. Then you've got Mushfiq at 5. Hridoy is a good player. He's at 6. Then you've got Afif Hussain finishing Miraz. So they have the batting till 8. Tuskin can swing it around. Don't forget, Tuskin Ahmed is decent with the bat. And then Mustafizur at
Remembers
circle.
all
So
of
we've
us
got
of Adelaide.
so we've got 3 pacers for you. We've got 1, 2 part-time in Afif, and 3 spinners. So are you satisfied, Paji, with this bowling attack and the playing 11 that we've put up?
Yeah,
for
I think
Bangladesh?
I think you've got it on the nail. And again, it's really the form that they're coming into. And I said, we know that they lost against Afghanistan in the last series. Do they pick those teams, or has things changed since then? Because that's the issue. We don't know what form people are coming in, because the ODIs haven't been really publicized that much. Well, I haven't watched much ODI cricket for a while, so it'll be interesting to see what they look at when they pick the team. But the batting picks itself. The 3 pacers picks itself. The 2 experienced players, wicket keepers, and the ex-captain, they pick themselves. So realistically, it's really 2 or 3 players that they will choose. So the 11 that you're coming with is probably the 11 that they'll go for, minus 1 or 2, and that will be based on form and what they're doing in the nets.
Correct. And
Yeah,
just
and
like we
some-
were talking about, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
Anyway. Just like we were
Pritam,
talking
go-
about
go.
in the playing 11, we almost spoke about all the players out here, but I want to talk about number 6 and number 8. First, I'm going to come to number 8, Mehdi Hassan Miraz, because a fan has been waiting since a long time about the question, saying that Mehdi Hassan Miraz can be a difference. He can be a difference point of view in terms of batting and bowling, because he's a pocket dynamo, you can say that. So, what do you think Mehdi Hassan Miraz brings to? This question is coming from the person in the screen as well as from Priyam. Both have the same question, saying that what do you think Mehdi Hassan Miraz can bring to this Bangladesh side in the lower batting all-rounders kind of thing?
Again, it depends when they come in. I think, again, if you've got Shakib and Mushfiqa coming in, say, with the last 10 overs, if he comes in that space where they are setting a score, again, what is a good score on these wickets, and what is the plan and what he's going to follow, and has he got an experienced head on the other side? If he has that experienced head, and that person guides him to do what the team needs or get them above par, because I think that's the key. What they have to do, and a team like Bangladesh will have to do, is make sure that they score a lot of runs. I think in the ODAs, they were getting finished in 35 overs. Game was done. So again, 50 overs, there's a skill and art. First rule in 50 over cricket is make sure if you're batting first, bat out your 50 overs. Yeah. And
Yes.
how they can come across that. And if they're chasing, then chase, with a plan. After 10 overs, we want to be there and be able to control the game if they're chasing and not lose wickets all at once. So I think realistically, having a player like Mehdi Hassan gives you that batting edge, but it also provides you with the ball. And we always know if you've been bowling and you get used to the conditions, it can help you with the batting. And that's the benefit of having all rounders who know the conditions.
Yeah, agreed. And this 11 pretty much, I think, looks like what it's going to be for the Bangladeshi team. And yeah, this is the playing 11. If you guys have your playing 11s, Mahir is there and Priyam, I think. You can type that in and we'll discuss that. And just before moving on to the next section, no Tamim Iqbal and Mahmudullah Paji, two great servants of Bangladesh cricket, two experienced heads, both have gone from the team. So how much are they going to miss them, especially in ODI format? Mahmudullah, remember, he's got 115 World Cup as well.
Yeah, they're going to miss them, and I think that's what it is. Again, the thing is, how, and what mindset are you going in with the Asian Cup? Are you going in the Asian Cup to give those are that less experienced, that profile, a competitive tournament before the World Cup, or are you just relying on your experienced players to get into form before the World Cup? I think that's the key thing that we've got to discuss or look at when we go into this tournament. And again, losing experienced players. The problem you have with experienced players, and India will have the same thing, is they've played so many matches. You sometimes lose a generation of players because you rely so much on their experience. And now that experience is gone. Is how Bangladesh cricket has been able to, embed these new players in, and how do they embed into their team? How do they embed into the culture? And how much can they rely on their experience? Because youthful exuberance is a great thing, but to be fair, it has to be won in the head. And cricket is a game of small margins, and it's got to be that mental edge, that mental toughness, which will see Bangladesh win a tight game. And that's been their biggest downfall in the ICC tournaments, especially when the going gets tough, they lose their heads. And I think that's where a game against Afghanistan, when it's a close game, that's when their senior players will have to step up, and that's when they probably will lose these guys that have been stalwarts in their team.
Correct, and I would want to add one more player's name when we're talking about experience misses. No Tamim Iqbal, no Mahmudullah. I spoken about this player earlier in the show as well. No Shomo Sharkar at the age of 30 is not making the side, but recently we saw at the age of 30 him making part in the emerging Asia Cup for Bangladesh. So how big a miss will he be for? Like, I don't know why he has not been picked here, but in case he has been dropped, do you think he should have been here in terms of in place of Naeem or Shanto, or is it fine to go with this balanced side who has been with the Bangladesh senior squad for the recent couple of years? This question is for Aryan.
Shoma Sharkar, you're asking specifically to him, right? Shoma
Yeah, yeah.
Sharkar, with the
Who
question.
played at the age
Yeah,
of
so
30 in the emerging Asia Cup? I don't know what emerging he would
yeah, so
bring into,
see, I
but yeah.
don't know. There can be many reasons. There can be reasons politically, or maybe there's some selection issue. There can be number of reasons you don't pick a player. We don't know. We are not in the thick of things, but they have a plan. They want to go in with the young team. They go with it. But Shoma Shakar, whatever he's played for Bangladesh, has been good, and he had that WWE medium pace as well. Um, I don't know how much of a chance he's going to get, but hopefully it's not over for him yet. He's got a good 5 to 7 years, I would say, left in him as a cricketer, and we hope to see him back in the dark green shirt sooner rather than later. And with that, Baji, you already answered one of our questions which we had for you. and look at his photo. We added that, very carefully. Nice photo. And and second question: Are Bangladesh too much reliant on their spinners? What if Paji teams play out the fast bowling, and the fast bowling doesn't click? We are assuming throughout the tournament. This is a hypothetical situation. If they don't get the conditions they want, how are their spinners going to tackle that?
Yeah, this is the key, and again, I think what they will do, they will stack themselves with that most of their all rounders are spinners. So again, that's what they're going to try to do. They've got to just basically be able to try to rotate these bowlers in the right sense. But again, they're just too reliant, maybe on Mustafiza for me, because that's where all the experience is. That's where the international experience is. That's where the pressure cricket experience is. It's all in that one player. So if Mustafiza does get injured, I think that's what they've got to really worry about. And I think the other bowlers, although they're emerging, they really need that, a father figure type of bowler, who's been there, been able to talk to the player and being able to get them through the tight situation. So I think spinners are going to be very important on the subcontinent. They'll be very important, especially in Sri Lanka. And again, what we'll probably do, we don't know about the used wickets and what will happen. So again, in Lahore, in a position like Lahore, spinners are usually quite good at that stadium as well. But we'll have to wait and see. And but the options, they are limited in the options. I think that's where the problem is. They don't have the experienced all rounders. They don't have the or the pace bowling experience, and then the all rounders that they're relying on or at the top quality level. And someone like, you can look at Shakib, and Shakib, he's been in and out of form. There's been no consistency with his form. Yes, his records are good, but which Shakib turns up, that is the key. And if that Shakib turns up, who's batting, bowling, fielding, captaining the team really well, then that will help them if their speed bowlers don't turn up.
Mhm.
Yeah, and absolutely correct. And before I move on to the third question, which is in the presentation screen, I picked up a very good question from one of the fan very right now he mentioned, and it's a player which I forgot to ask you in the playing 11, Hridoy. I watched him very closely in the Lanka Premier League. He has been a phenomenal talent. He has been a talent who he has been a player who has like all kinds of shots he has in the book, and he's really confident on himself. So what's your take on, if you have watched him play in any of the domestic games, you will know about him. Otherwise, Aryan can definitely answer. A player like him, just like we have got in Tilak Verma in our side, a player looking into the domestic success and in the recent past into Caribbean as well. Do you think these kind of players deserve a chance in the floor platform of the Asia Cup? Because you've already picked him, you don't want to bench warm him just for the experience, right?
Yeah, and this is what
First
we
of
need
all,
to. There's got to be
yeah,
there's
go
got
on.
to be these players that are known. Rido is not known to myself, but you got to give one of the in a team like Bangladesh where the pool of players is not as strong. There's got to be a couple of players that come in that have been performing well, and you need to integrate them into the team when they are playing well. And if you look at like a player like Tilak Varma for India, the fact is this is what the big question is for Indian selectors. Tilak Varma has proved himself in the IPL. He's improved himself in a couple of games now. Tilak Varma coming into the Indian setup when you've got Shreyas Iyer, that is not. We don't know which one's going to turn up. KL Rahul, that hasn't turned up, and we don't know position for Sky. Puts India in a difficult position. But with a team like Bangladesh, a Ridoy, a star that is coming out from nowhere, that's played in good form at the time, you've got to basically give them that opportunity, especially with the World Cup in mind.
Yeah, agreed. And young unknown commodities, we've seen a lot. If I can give you a few examples, Rashid Khan, picked up by Sunrisers Hyderabad, unknown prodigy, shines through the IPL. Mujibur Rahman, picked up by our very own Kings 11 Punjab back in the day, unknown prodigy, and not unknown, but he was still a part of the under 90s. So you never know these unknown players. And the best thing about these is oppositions can't plan. because they need to go on previous data, which is hard to find. And even if they find it, that player has developed his game so much till now that he's a very changed player. So you can't really
Correct.
plan against these kind of players. And last question, similar question to what we have been asking you. Let me find something from the comments, and I'll just change the layout here so that the presentation goes away. And yeah, there we go. Just finding something in the comments. Very interesting, out of the box, Mahir as always. Saurav Ganguly, he's from Calcutta. Do you see him someday becoming consultant for Bangladesh team? He's with CAB, but what do you think, Paji? Saurav Ganguly,
Why
Bangladesh
not?
consultant.
Why not? And again, this is the big thing that we just see in England. It's a big debate on Ian Bell, a good friend of mine, a good legend of
Yes.
Warwickshire and England, now coaching the Kiwis for 4 weeks. And again, I think this is the key thing what Bangladesh will have to probably do is get somebody of the caliber of Dada to help them in a World Cup situation. I think that's the missing piece of the jigsaw. You need somebody who speaks maybe most of the language, understands the players, can talk and mentor the younger players through, but also has the respect of the older players. So I think that's a brilliant call, Mahir. I think Dada as mentor or maybe even head coach. Why not give him the head coach for the World Cup or something like that? Because that will be more attractive to the coaches, the coach of being able to coach something, because obviously the India job is signed up. So where these coaches should be coaching, the best of the other teams. And I think it's very, very good. And I think that's a brilliant call. Having Dada there, I think it would make a massive difference to Bangladesh.
And just like you
Yeah,
said about
and
Ian Bell,
you,
if my memory is correct, was that the run out controversy? Was it Ian Bell or was it Jonathan Trott, which Dhoni called him
that
back in?
was
I
Ian
think
Bell. That
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 was
In
Ian
that.
Bell,
that
right?
was Ian Bell.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Aryan, you can go ahead and conclude.
he's with the Kiwis. Stephen Fleming is with the Kiwis. Now imagine Fleming and Williamson, the combo coming together for. So yes, Mahir, I agree with you.
Just one thing to add on there,
So
you guys and the viewers probably won't know, is one of the new Kiwi rugby players. He's going to be assisting the Australian team. So you got this big rivalry, and you got one of the best, coaches and captains of New Zealand All Blacks. He'll be helping, Australian team for their World Cup when the rugby starts. So again, we've seen this in a lot of sports. We've seen it in the Premier
Correct.
League,
Yeah.
where you go in the Premier League, you look at where all these coaches come from. They come
Yeah.
from abroad, and they come into the team, or then they don't even know the league. They just come from abroad and they do a fantastic job and they move around. And I think cricket's probably a bit more colonial in that sense, that the team has to be managing the players of that nation. I think we're behind the 8 ball on that. England's been very good, and if you look at England's coaches, Bayliss was there. They have these foreign coaches that have come in, even for short stints. It's definitely a good thing to have.
yeah, and someone who's supporting a team from 16 years, who's changed around 10 to 12 coaches. We know the importance of coaches, and Paji got the direction pointing in. So coaching is important, but India Bangladesh clash, very. We've had some good rivalries. Paji, which is your most memorable match? I think you would say 2016, but what are your memories of India Bangladesh cricket from the
Oh,
recent
definitely
past?
the World Cup. The World Cup was brilliant. I think I watched Bangladesh and India twice, and I think Rohit knocked a century on each occasion. So, so yeah, that's my
So you watched the one in Australia.
watching live. That's my main thing. Yeah, I think the two matches I've watched live at Edgbaston. India versus Bangladesh, the World Cup one and the Champions Trophy. I think it was Champions Trophy. Was it the Champions? Yeah, I think it was the Champions Trophy that we watched. And those were the two memories I
Yeah,
watched, and I loved it. To be fair, India Pakistan was good match to watch, but it was just too much tension. Bangladesh and India vibe in the ground. was all amazing. I was dancing with the Bangladesh flag and the Tigers as well. So absolutely loved that game.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Fantastic,
Preetham, go ahead.
fantastic to hear that. But yes, at last, all the questions were answered. Hopefully, it was wonderful, wonderful having Sandy Paji with us out here. A big thank you, Sandy Paji, for joining us the show. We did the team analysis of Bangladesh. We at last got done with a team that has been really, really playing good cricket, but not climbing up the ladder where they should. So thank you so much once again for each and every one of you who have been watching us, the people who have given us the comments, the comment section. Especially thank you to Priyam and the other person that was there.
Mahir.
And don't Mahit, thank you so much for you. And
Mahir.
don't forget to subscribe to the Direct Hit and Fifth Umpire in YouTube for more updates, because day after tomorrow I'll not take the team name, but hopefully we will get done with one of the team analysts or one of the teams. Till then, thank you so much, and bye bye. Take care.
Catch you later, guys.
Hopefully the teams will announce themselves, as Preetham said, and thank you, Sandy Paji. Look forward to having you more since the World Cup is there. And guys, follow Sandy Paji on Instagram if you want to join his, as always, interesting Instagram lives. We wait. Sometimes we text him if he's going to
Yeah.
come on Instagram.
Busy these days, but I'm clearing the schedule, work schedule, with the priority with the World Cup. So,
You'd be
and
free after the 100. You'll be free after the 100.
yeah, tomorrow's last day for 100. Tomorrow's last day 100. 100's over for me. I'll go to the ground tomorrow, and that's it. It's done. And then it's just the New Zealand game. I've got New Zealand versus England, and that's my last game. And then then I can concentrate on that. India, Ireland. Is it off or what's happening?
No
I
update
don't
out of
know
no.
actually. Let me check.
It's still
I
delayed.
was
There's
just
no
going to move
confirmation.
on
I
that
just saw
subject.
it's still delayed. It's still raining.
Well, the weather's
but
the weather's nice
Match
here, so hopefully
delayed.
this.
the the covers are
Yeah, it's
coming
right.
off,
It's
but
right.
there's we still haven't got the toss done.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
With
you so
that,
much,
All right, then,
everyone.
guys. I will catch you later.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye bye.
Thank you.